I'm Steve Lascauso, and this is The Way. You're listening to the January 2026 This is The Way podcast Star Wars News Update. How has 2026 started out for you? We're only 4 months away now from a new Star Wars movie. The Mandalorian and Grogu is set to debut in theaters on May 22nd. Now, if you don't count re-releases, the last time a Star Wars movie was featured was 2019, The Rise of Skywalker. 6 years and counting.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It's time for me to report Star Wars news released since our last news update podcast. We are about a week away from another Star Wars podcast day. It's a remembrance of the first podcast dedicated to Star Wars content, Jedi Talk. It streamed for the first time back on February 7th, 1999. Daniel of Star Wars Now This Is Podcasting organized the first celebration of Star Wars podcasting way back in 2020, and our February episodes of that year qualify us for participating, even though we didn't release on the 7th. We were a pretty popular podcast back then, when Season 1 of The Mandalorian was still fresh on the new Disney Plus platform. 2021 was our first release on the 7th, and since that episode, we've done our very best to honor it more officially every year with an actual release on the 7th of February. You can check out other podcasts participating by searching for hashtag SWPD2026 or hashtag Star Wars Podcast Day 2026. And this year's episode, I'm planning on a short commentary on the official announcement of Kathleen Kennedy stepping down in favor of Dave Filoni and Lin-Manuel Brennan's assumption of leadership at Lucasfilm. We'll see if that's what I actually do, but that's the plan. The May 22nd release of The Mandalorian and Grogu is not actually the next Star Wars content being released. April 6th, on Disney Plus, we'll see the debut of Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. And there may be a May the 4th release of new Tales of the Jedi or the Underworld or the Empire. That's usually something that happens, or it's been happening for a few years now, so Mandalorian and Grogu is not the next project on the slate. But the animated series, Shadow Lord, is set between the end of the Clone Wars and Maul's reappearance in Solo: A Star Wars Story. His fate, of course, is sealed within the Star Wars Rebels series. And, I mean, it's not a spoiler to say that Obi-Wan kills him on Tatooine. But the upcoming animated show will flesh out Maul's rise in the criminal world. The April 6th date was revealed along with a teaser trailer on January 22nd. The trailer introduces a new planet, Janix. There's a new Jedi on the run from the Inquisitors, a female Twi'lek named Devon Izara, and some are theorizing this lady turns into a Sith villain called Darth Talon. That's all speculation from Legends comics fans. She will be voiced by Gideon Adlon. Then there is basically what's a detective in space, Captain Brander Lawson. He's looking to keep the peace, provided by the Empire on Janix, and he will be voiced by Wagner Moura. Then there is a droid called Two Boots, voiced by Richard Ayoade. He voiced Q90 in The Mandalorian, and both Lawson and this droid have been seen in the Maul prequel comic series by Marvel called Shadow of Maul. The Disney press release says there will be Dennis Haber voicing Master Iko Diodaki, Chris Diamantopoulos voicing Luti Vario, Charlie Bushnell voicing Riley Lawson, maybe that's the daughter of the captain, and then David C. Collins voicing Spybot and Steve Bloom voicing Icarus. Now, you might recognize Collins and Bloom's names because they do a lot of voices in shows like The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, and so on. You don't often see them on screen, you just hear their voices. Then there are some really interesting names that I noticed. Vanessa Marshall is going to voice Mandalorian Rook Cash, just as she did in the Clone Wars. So that character is back supporting Maul as she did when he took over Mandalore for a time. Clancy Brown is back in Star Wars to voice, this time, the 11th brother, a Sith Inquisitor, who has been in Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire, and was killed by Ahsoka in her Tales of the Jedi vignette. And Clancy Brown has been in other things. He was Berg in Season 1, Chapter 6 of The Mandalorian. That was the Deveronian on the Prison Breakout crew. He also played Ryder Azadi both in live action on Ahsoka, and he voiced him in Rebels. And he was also the voice of Savage Opress in The Clone Wars, Maul's brother. Then there is AJ Locascio. Not a relation. Not even spelled the same as my name. AJ is voicing Merrick. Yes, the prior to being reanimated by dark magic by the Night Sisters of Dathomir version of Merrick. He carries the rank of first brother in this show. So is this where he dies before he's animated by the Night Sisters as a zombified version, and that's the one that we eventually see die in Ahsoka's live-action series? And if so, who kills him the first time around?
Rock, form up on my wing and wait for my signal.
Speaking of Ahsoka, the second season will be the next live-action project after The Mandalorian and Grogu to see release by Disney and Lucasfilm. Live-action project. We still don't have a date, don't have a trailer, although that may come shortly after Maul's episodic run ends this summer. The story was left with Sabine and Ahsoka on Peridea with Baylan Skoll searching for the Mortis gods, and I'll have space battles between Grand Admiral Thrawn and Admiral Akbar of the New Republic in the Prime universe, or the original universe. There's a lot more story to tell, I guess, there in between the end of the Skywalker series, or the original series, and before the prequel or the sequel series. And we're going to see more Hayden Christensen. He's going to reprise his holographic role as Anakin Skywalker. It's also possible we see more of the World Between Worlds as well.
And complete. Oh, took my battery back up a while to cycle, I suppose. What did I miss?
The next live-action project in line after that is going to be Starfighter. And we learned in January that Tom Cruise paid a visit to the set that was being run by director Sean Levy. Levy then handed Cruise a camera and let him film part of a lightsaber duel. I'd imagine that's something significant enough to earn a credit, but when the movie comes out, I'm sure we'll hear more about this. We'll be on the lookout for a lightsaber duel in the water, because that's, according to Levy in a New York Times article, that Cruise was put to work during his set visit during that scene. That same article indicated that the dynamic between Gosling and the child actor that we have seen in promotional shots is going to be very father-son-like. Levy is extremely fond of that father-son dynamic as a story tool because he relates to it in his own life experience. He ran away from his mother at age 13 to find his father.
Sometimes we go to a movie for escape, for something that in no way connects to our own experience. And we go because we want to get out of our own head, get out of our own lives.
Moving on to Star Wars TV as it pertains to awards, the Writers Guild of America Awards is considering Andor's second season in the 2025 Best Drama category. It's up against The Pit's first season, The White Lotus, Severance, and Pluribus. It's also up for awards in some categories at award shows for the Director Guild of America, the Actors Guild, and Producers Guild of America ceremonies. The Saturn Awards, meanwhile, sees a few shows by Lucasfilm scoring nominations. Andor's second season is up for Best Science Fiction Television Series, Best Supporting Actress in a TV Series for Genevieve O'Reilly and Denise Goff, Best Supporting Actor in a TV Series for Stellan Skarsgård, and Best Actor in a TV Series for Diego Luna. Skeleton Crew was nominated for Best New Genre TV Series, Best Younger Performer in a TV Series for Ravi Kabit-Conyers in his portrayal of Wim, and Best Supporting Actor in a TV Series for Jude Law. And then Tales of the Underworld was also nominated for Best Animated TV Series or Event. Star Wars Gamers Outlaws is now available on the Xbox Game Pass for Ultimate Tier subscribers. The cost for that per month is $29.99, but you don't get to keep the game if you unsubscribe from the Game Pass. Also, you don't get included DLC. You have to buy that separate anyway, though, if you buy the game outright. Now, if you already have Game Pass, that might be worth checking out. The game is available on sale at lower prices on occasion. So if that's the only thing you want, you might just even wait until May the 4th, because that's something of a Star Wars holiday, and they often have deals online for games. Now, there's no new word on Star Wars content coming to Fortnite via Epic Games for May the 4th, and no word on when in 2026 Star Wars Zero Company will be released. The official announcement trailer for that game came out in April of 2025 at Celebration, and no date was included then, but the end of the trailer said coming this year. Ditto for the more recent announced game, Galactic Racer. That trailer was released just last December, last month, during the Game Awards, and it also said coming in 2026. But hey, we still got 11 months.
Are we reporting this?
Time to talk to collectors. Now, I do want to say, and maybe I should have been doing this more often, but none of the games or the collectibles that I talk about, I do not receive any compensation. Not trades, not money, nothing. So I am not promoting these. I'm just telling you that these things have become available. I just do that because I think it's interesting sometimes, the things that are coming out. I think that tells you whether or not the fandom is healthy. If there's new content and new items coming out all the time, I think that's indicative of a healthy Star Wars, and Lucasfilm is not going to throw money away. They want people to buy the stuff. So just know, I am not getting paid for any of this. For example, Hasbro I have no contact with, I've never even sent an email to anyone at Hasbro. But Hasbro Pulse, the website, has 4 new items on the Shop All Star Wars page. 3 Black Series figures and a helmet. Watto comes with a walking stick, data pad, swappable wings, and it says it's a clear stand to pose him in mid-flight. But if you look on the site, it's milky white. It's not clear. It's a Black Series figure, so it's a 6-inch scale Watto with these 6 accessories for about $28. It's in pre-order, ships around June 1st of this year. There's a Geonosian Warrior, also in pre-order, same scale, same $28 price, same shipping date. 4 accessories, a blaster, swappable wings, and that milky white stand for posing that it calls clear. There's no posing stand needed for the last figure I noticed on the site, Ton Wei, the Kaminoan administrative aide who introduced Obi-Wan Kenobi to Jango and Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones. She's also $28 in pre-order for a June shipping date, and she has just 1 accessory, a data pad. Now, the helmet that I mentioned is listed as new on the site. It's a Black Series Boba Fett re-armored premium electronic helmet. I believe they've had Boba Fett helmets before, but this one is called re-armored. It's in stock, which means it's ready to ship right now. It takes 1 AAA battery, that is not included. It has a flip-down rangefinder, flashing LED lights, and an illuminated heads-up display, but it says nothing about voice modulation, so keep that in mind. Delivery seems to be free, even if you're not a Pulse Premium member, because shipping is supposed to be free over $75 or free for Pulse Premium members, but the helmet runs about $110 before tax. And there was a big reveal in Las Vegas earlier this month by LEGO about smart bricks and smart playsets, and there are some Star Wars offerings. And again, I did not go to Vegas. I do not know anyone at LEGO, and I am not being paid for my opinions. I just look at the website, and I'm telling you about them. And in fact, if you're interested in these, I recommend you look at them very closely, because not all the sets are equal. Let me tell you about them. There's a Luke's Red 5 X-Wing set for $90 in pre-order. Then there's a Throne Room Duel and A-Wing set for $160 in pre-order. And a Darth Vader TIE Fighter for $70, also in pre-order. And to be honest, you have to look these up because not everyone comes with a smart brick. You have to see what the smart brick is going to do for these and what comes with the sets, because it's very confusing because there's pictures on the website, and then you don't know which characters and minifigures are smart able and which ones are just regular minifigures. So the building instructions are already available on the set pages, even though these don't ship out until March 1st. But I have no hands-on experience with any of these sets or the smart bricks, and they were just announced, like I mentioned. It says the all-in-one Red 5 X-Wing set comes with 1 smart brick and 2 smart minifigures with 5 smart tags and 1 smart charger. But I guess the set you buy has additional non-smart minifigures. Then there's the Throne Room and A-Wing set that comes with 2 smart bricks and 3 smart minifigures. But again, there appear to be more non-smart enabled minifigs included in that set. And then the TIE Fighter set also comes with several minifigs, but I'm guessing Vader is probably the lone smart minifigure in that set. But that's not all. There is a Smart Play Millennium Falcon for $100 in pre-order. 4 smart minifigures and 4 smart tags, but 0 smart bricks included. So it is listed as Smart Play compatible on the LEGO website. In fact, the rest of the ones I'm going to mention are all listed as compatible. So there's a Mos Eisley Cantina set for $80, 2 smart minifigs, and 3 smart tags, but 0 smart bricks. You'll have to purchase smart bricks separately. ATST, Attack on Endor, with speeder, Ewok, Stormtrooper, and a driver. Only 1 is a smart minifig, and it comes with 2 smart tags, no brick. Finally, Luke's Landspeeder for $40 seems to have a Jawa, a Gonk droid, and a New Hope era Luke, which that's got to be the 1 smart minifigure, right? It also only has 1 smart tag, and again, no smart brick. Oh, actually, there is one more. The Yoda's Hut and Jedi Training for $70. It's wild looking. There's a scene, I guess they couldn't do any clear bricks or something like that because some things are suspended that it's supposed to look like Luke is levitating Yoda or something. I don't know. It's wild looking. You have to look at it. 2 smart minifigures. I'm guessing it's Yoda and Dagobah Luke. 2 smart tags. No brick. Again, no. You have to really pay attention because it may just be compatible. And then you have to go and buy a smart brick. And I don't know what those cost by themselves. I don't even know if you can buy them by themselves. You may have to buy a set that's got a brick right now. And then I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. Okay. So these all seem to ship March 1st. So you've got time. They are still available to pre-order as of the recording of this podcast, but you might want to check in soon because you don't know what you're buying unless you take a really close look at those websites. Again, I'm not trying to sell you these things. And I'm not going to do that research unless LEGO sends all the sets to try out, and then I will disclose that to you. But that is not going to happen because, again, I have no contact. I'm not trying to sell you these things. I'm just trying to inform you and tell you this is news. I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Just one more thing.
Thanks, Cap. Disney Parks news time. And did you hear? The original trilogy is taking over a big part of Batuu. Disney Parks is going to be retheming parts of Galaxy's Edge to the original trilogy time period in order to attract more fans. Just like with the collectibles and the games. I'm not getting paid by Disney. I'm just telling you what's going on here, right? The most detailed changes I could find were listed as changes coming to Disneyland, but I'm guessing the information is also accurate for Hollywood Studios in Florida. Beginning in April, Darth Vader, Leia, Han, and Luke are going to start to appear like Chewbacca, Kylo Ren, and Rey already do. Vader was previously available to meet in Launch Bay alongside Chewbacca at Hollywood Studios in Florida. but he will start to roam Batuu April 29th with Imperial stormtroopers. Leia and Han and Luke will occasionally be reunited as they roam the outpost. Luke and Leia may appear in several different outfits, but no, there won't be a Jabba's prisoner Leia. All three may roam, but Leia and Han will spend more time near the Falcon, from what I've read, and Han will also occasionally be spotted in Oga's Cantina. Ahsoka Tano and the Mandalorian and Grogu are still going to be spotted in and around the marketplace from time to time. R2-D2 is going to occasionally be seen rolling around, and Rey and Kylo Ren will seemingly be isolated to the Rise of the Resistance ride area and that camp area around the ride queue. Next month, I'm going to see if I can do some more digging and see some of the more of the changes that are coming and see if some are specific to Hollywood Studios or Disneyland. But in the meantime, you can start planning your spring break trips to Disneyland or Disney World and see if you can meet some of the original trilogy characters that have been missing for some time in Galaxy's Edge.
I think we can let him off with the warning this time.
If you think I've missed something, or you disagree with me, send email to thisisthewaypodcast@gmail.com. You can also interact with This Is The Way Podcast through X, Facebook, Instagram. All of those are at This Is The Way Pod. That's usually our handle. There's also a Discord server for the podcast so you can look up, but I'm not very active on there, at least yet. I do from time to time post things there, and I post podcast links and things like that, but if I ever do more gaming stuff, then I'll probably use that feature of that site a little bit more. But right now, it's just available. It's not something that I do a lot with, but X, Facebook, Instagram, I'm usually posting stuff on there.
Luminous beings, Zoe, not this crude matter.
So, will 2026 be the year that we engineer a new sound effect for our newest segment? I don't know. This is the word is my chance to get creative and tie a real-world Bible verse into the Star Wars universe. And yes, we have another Bible verse again this month.
This is the way.
James chapter 1, verses 14 through 15. But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Then desire, when it is conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death. Yikes. But that does remind me of Yoda's speech to Anakin in The Phantom Menace, right? Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. There's a lot on the news these days that makes me fearful. Now, I'm not living in fear. I don't live in fear that every day I'm going to be hurt, but I do worry about how easy lies are spread by Democrats to get their way, to cloud the truth, to cover up misdeeds and theft in state governments, to antagonize and use the people that it claims to want to protect as pawns in order to deflect blame and distract from the hypocrisy that saw a very different tactic under previous Democratic administrations. Now, I do fear someday Christians, maybe even my children, will have real reasons to fear for their lives on a daily basis. We are called, though, to reject this world's ways and be selfless rather than selfish. Anakin's own desires led to him following a dark path laid out for him by Sith Lord Sidious. Palpatine groomed him much like the devil, questioning obvious truth in order to sow confusion. There are activists who claim, I'm just protesting, I have a right to protest, but they instill fear in law enforcement by doxing them, harassing them, blowing whistles, following them. They're trying to instill fear in order to create chaos, to have tragic events that they can then use, the leadership can use, to further their own agenda. We're told to follow the science and public policy, but then when the science is inconvenient to biology, oh no, that's a social construct. Now, it would be easy and understandable for people to simply choose to hate, and many people do. But then we fall into the trap of the dark side when we do. We should do our best to reject fear, but we cannot compromise the truth in the pursuit of peace. Peace doesn't come when you reject truth. Truth first, even if it's difficult. Truth with compassion when possible. A Jedi should defend, not attack. But look, what Mace Windu, he told Anakin Palpatine was too dangerous to be left alive. But that was exactly the trap laid out for him and the Jedi, and that it immediately led to the creation of Darth Vader. It was a path revealed years earlier by Yoda, but not avoided. I hope and pray we can realize the path that's being set out for us and avoid that as a country.
He speaks the truth.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me for This Is the Way Podcast's January 2026 news update episode. Thank you again for being part of This Is the Way Podcast's audience, and look for our next episode, which should be coming out on Star Wars Podcast Day 2026, February 7th, in about a week. I'm your host, Steve Lascalzo, and may the Force be with you always.